just to prepare you a little bit, later halfway when we are speaking, right, there will always be real nuggets. Yeah.
I know.
Okay. Hopefully one day when we keep doing this and doing this, right, hopefully McDonald's, please sponsor us because we'll be doing free publicity for you. Please, McDonald's. I'm a big fan of McDonald's. All right. Okay. Yurong, talk a little bit about this. 24th February 2023, projects with 2023 ABSD deadline. And what's going to happen is that all these properties, they're going to hit their 5-year mark. And of course, if you look at the next page, right, there's this very interesting portion right here that says that it'll be more meaningful for developers to just pay for the ABSD on the land price. And that's for projects with lower take-up rates. Yurong, what's your take on this?
I think this is nothing new. So back in terms of history, because of course 2011 was when additional buyer stamp duty was first implemented for developers. And I think from that point is basically like, if we were to move the history back a little bit, what happens last time is developers can actually hold on to the units. So in a not so good market, they can always hold on to units, they can rent it out and sell at a later stage in time. So of course, when government implemented this 5-year additional buyer stamp duty for developers, so the plus point is they also want developers to bid the land in a more sensitive manner, such that the pricing is actually acceptable by the market, right? So there are a few observations here. We can see that most out of these 27 projects, actually 23 of them belongs to the core central region, 5 from the rest of central and 4 from the outside central region. Of course, we look back at history. 2017, 2018, we have a similar article of like the whole stretch of properties that are reaching ABSD. And that time, there was speculation that mentioned that, okay, all these developers will start reducing prices in order to move the stock, and then they don't need to pay additional buyer stamp duty, and buyers can look out for good discount factors.
Right.
Okay. So if we look compared to history, what happens? There were like 3 categories of developers that I remember that did 3 different actions. Of course, point 1, out of all the stocks that you see, most of the time, the supply is much lower than what was published because this is based on like back-legged kind of data. 3 ways developers have handled previously beforehand. Number 1, for developers that have really a lot of unsold units, some have decided to sell it to another company through like a fund basis. And so that was one way.
Right.
I also like heard developers that like maybe have like 4 units left. So what happens is maybe like they, as an individual director, they buy the unit, so the additional buyer stamp duty is on like an individual count basis.
Right.
So it will be much lesser than the 30% over the entire land price. And of course, lastly, we also have developers that actually went ahead to pay additional buyer stamp duty, such that there is actually no change in the pricing. I think which is a great move because it gives confidence, right, to future buyers that, okay, this developer, right, will not just reduce pricing. And so I have confidence that, okay, I can continue to buy from this developer.
And it's also fair that in terms of reputation, the first batch of buyers, or all the 80-90% of buyers that bought, they are confident that in future, if they were to buy future products from the same developer, developers will not cause a drastic drop in the valuation themselves. So I think, of course, there were some developers that gave discounts in the past, and of course that on the ground context, we think that that kind of move technically spoils reputation in a sense, right? So I think paying the ABSD themselves is better as a strategic branding move. George, I want to get your sensing. Do you think this will cause like an oversupply? But before that, I want to share with our audience this chart first. So this just came out fresh from the oven. Supply in the pipeline. So this is depicted by the sold units in the pipeline, the orange one versus the overall bar. And as of 2022 Q4, you can see that more than 75% has already been sold. And of course, that blue bar here will comprise of those projects that we see in the previous article that will hit the ABSD. So do you think there will be oversupply in the market?
I don't think there will be a huge oversupply in the market. And I think consistently, government are also looking at the number of GLS sites that are being released to the market, and I don't think there will be a huge oversupply, but rather I think coming into this season, as we all know, buyers will have a lot more options, especially when there are a lot of new launches coming up.